The Apache woman laughed, but there was a tired edge beneath it, the kind that comes when hope has already been disappointed. Her name was Nalin, and she stood near the old well where the desert spread out in every direction, endless and unforgiving. The ring was gone, slipped from her finger sometime before dawn, swallowed by dust and stones like so many other lost things. It had belonged to her mother, smooth from years of wear, and the loss sat heavy in her chest, even as she pretended it didn't matter. When the quiet cowboy approached, she barely looked at him at first. He wasn't like the others who passed through the trading post boasting of horses and gunfights. This man moved slowly, as if the world would wait for him. His hat pulled low, his eyes calm and unreadable. He asked what she was looking for, his voice low and steady. Nalin shrugged, forcing a smile, and told him about the ring. She expected sympathy at best, a quick shake of the head at worst. Instead, he knelt without another word and began to search, pushing aside rocks, sifting sand through his fingers with careful patience. The sun climbed higher, baking the earth, and still he stayed. Watching him stirred something unexpected in her, a quiet curiosity she didn't want to admit. To hide it, she joked, letting the words fall lightly from her lips. "If you find it," she said, "I'll be yours." She laughed, certain the desert would keep its secret and her promise would never be tested. The cowboy paused for only a moment, then nodded once, as if she had asked him something simple and reasonable. He didn't tease her. He didn't grin. He just went back to searching. Time stretched on. Other people came and went, shaking their heads, whispering that the ring was gone for good. Nalin eventually told him he could stop, that it was pointless, but he didn't answer. As the light began to fade and the sky turned amber, he finally stood, dust clinging to his hands and clothes. He tipped his hat to her, said nothing, and walked away into the evening. Nalin watched him disappear, the joke already forgotten, the ring already mourned. She told herself it had been foolish to hope, foolish to feel that strange pull in her chest. In the vast silence of the desert night, she believed the story was over, never, imagining that the quiet cowboy had taken her, words far more seriously than she ever meant them. 3 days passed, and with each sunrise, Nalin convinced herself that the quiet cowboy would not return. Life at the trading post moved on as it always did, voices bargaining, horses snorting, dust rising with every step, but something felt unfinished. The ring was back on her finger only in memory, and the careless joke she had made lingered in her thoughts more than she wanted to admit. She told herself it was relief she felt, relief that the promise had vanished along with the ring. Yet whenever she glanced toward the open road, her heart tightened in a way that betrayed her. On the third afternoon, a familiar figure appeared at the edge of the settlement. The cowboy rode in slowly, as if he had all the time in the world. Lin recognized him instantly, and for a moment she considered turning away. Instead, she stayed where she was, her pulse quickening as he dismounted and walked toward her. He stopped a few steps away, dust on his coat, his expression as calm as the day he had left. Without speaking, he reached into his pocket and opened his hand. The ring lay there, dulled by sand but unmistakable. For a heartbeat, the world around them seemed to fall silent. Nalin stared, certain she was imagining it. When she finally reached out, her fingers trembled as they brushed against his. The metal was warm from his skin. Her throat tightened, and she struggled to find her voice. She admitted she hadn't believed he could find it, that she thought the desert would claim it forever. He only shrugged, as if the impossible were nothing more than a task patiently completed. As she slipped the ring back onto her finger, the weight of her words returned to her. What had been said in laughter now stood between them, solid and undeniable. She searched his face for expectation, for triumph, for any hint that he meant to hold her to the bargain. There was none. He looked at her the same way he always had, steady, respectful, as if the choice were entirely hers. That night, long after he had gone to the far side of the camp, Nalin sat alone beneath the stars. The ring glinted softly in the firelight, no longer just a piece of her past, but a reminder of something new taking shape. She realized the shock was not that he had found the ring, but that he had returned without demanding anything in return. In that quiet restraint, she felt her certainty shift. The joke no longer felt like a trap she needed to escape, but like a door she might one day choose to open. The cowboy did not leave the next morning, and that alone surprised Nalin more than she expected. He stayed on the edge of the settlement at first, helping where help was needed and keeping to himself when it was not. He repaired broken fences without being asked, shared his water with travelers, and listened more than he spoke. Nalin watched him from a distance, noticing how he treated her people with quiet respect, never acting as if the land or the lives on it belonged to him. There was no rush in him, no hunger to claim what was not freely offered, and that patience slowly worked its way into her thoughts. Days passed, and their conversations grew longer, though still gentle and unforced. He asked about her mother and listened when she spoke of the ring, of how it had been passed down, and what it meant to carry memory on one's hand. He told her little about himself, only that he had learned long ago that some things worth finding could not be hurried. In his presence, Nalin felt both steadied and unsettled, as if her heart recognized something before her mind was ready to accept it. One evening, as the sky deepened into shades of purple and gold, Nalin found him standing near the old well, where it had all begun. The air was cool, the desert unusually still. She turned the ring slowly on her finger, feeling the smoothness worn by generations. Her voice, when she spoke, was honest and clear. She told him she had joked because she was afraid of losing something precious, afraid of hoping for more than the world usually gave. She told him she did not want to be bound by laughter or debt, but by choice. The cowboy listened, his gaze never leaving hers. When she finished, he nodded once, the same simple gesture he had given her on the day they met. He said he would not take what was not freely given, and that finding the ring had been enough. In that moment, Nalin understood that the promise had already been kept, not by claiming her, but by proving his word meant something. She slipped the ring from her finger and placed it gently into his hand, then closed his fingers around it before taking it back. The gesture was small but deliberate. She stepped closer, her decision calm and unshaken. The desert stretched endlessly around them, but she no longer felt alone within it. What had begun as a careless joke had become a quiet truth. In choosing him freely, she had found something far more enduring than a lost ring.